Hi, and yes, we are doing a Pokemon video for a change this time around. We had a very, very good tournament run at a local league cup this past weekend, so I figured it'd be nice to go over my personal top four list and then our teammate Jonathan's first placed Pikachu and Zekrom list. No shock and surprise, I was playing Arceus Dialga Palkia GX once again. Just an archetype that I've become very familiar with and I really, really enjoy playing even though it seems like it's a brain dead deck, there's minutia involved in the deck that you got to know when to pull certain cards. You got to know when to have your energy attachments, how to play them out, and quite frankly, just get a little bit lucky not to get knocked out before you can use Ultimate Ray, because that's always important. The deck revolves around Arceus Dialga Palkia, of course. We have a big, beefy 280 HP basic Pokemon. Uh, the attack is fantastic. For Water Metal Colorless, you do 150 damage, and then you search for 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. So you can accelerate to yourself. There's no reason to do so. You can attach them to your bench in any way you want to. You can put 3 on 1, 2 here, 1 there, 1, 1, 1. You can do it. But the thing that makes this deck so different from everything else is the GX attack, which is completely stupid how good it is. For the rest of the game, your Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to the opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. If you have 1 extra water energy attached to it in addition to the attack cost, so for Metal Water, when you knock out the opponent's active Pokemon by damage, you take 1 more prize card. So let's sit back and think about that. So we're doing 30 extra damage and we're taking an extra prize card the entire remainder of the game from that point on. Assuming our opponent doesn't play Channeler, because I don't think there's anything that plays Channeler right now. That now means Keldeo, which is the other big attacker in the deck, now swings for 140 damage with Sonic Edge. Doesn't seem like a lot, but you sit there and you do that math. That means you now knock out cleanly Giratina and Malamar decks. It means you know cleanly 2-shot an opposing Arceus Dialga Palkia. It changes your math for the better. The other thing it does very nicely is if you're in a mirror match, for instance, and you're swinging Keldeos against Keldeos, you're swinging 140, your opponent swings 110, you can play your Mallow and Lana, heal all that damage off, go into a Drachi, Stellar Wish, grab a trainer card of choice just to thin your deck out, retreat because you already have the escape board. I mean, obviously you've set up perfectly at this point in time. Go back into Keldeo, swing for 140. They can heal that damage, but then you can finish them off because you've stacked enough damage on them to 2-shot them effectively, whereas you've basically nullified the fact that they even attacked. So that's pretty solid stuff. So I do want to talk more about Keldeo GX just as a card in and of itself, because it is such a very powerful card that we have in the format right now. 170 HP isn't a ton of HP, but where this card makes its money and makes its worth is the ability, Pure Heart. Prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon GX or Pokemon EX. So you don't get to damage it with 90% of the cards in the format currently? Somewhere in that ballpark. We also get a very, very nice GX attack. Not that we're using it a whole lot, but there are situations that we get to. Resolute Blade GX, which is just like a couple of other GX decks we've seen in recent memory. You do 50 times per opponent's benched Pokemon, which is a very, very nice attack. It's your biggest hitting attack that you have in this deck. That's the attack you can do the most damage with. So what I'm saying is this Pokemon is also very great because the Latios GX is played in a couple different decks. Hey buddy, I'm kind of in the middle of something here. If you're gonna sit here and be good. So Keldeo GX, the ability, the way it checks against Latios GX in particular is something that I find very, very valuable because I seem to always be playing against Mew 3 decks and Malamar decks that play Latios GX. So the Latios GX's GX attack, Clear Vision for 1 Psychic Energy. Your opponent cannot use GX attacks for the remainder of the game. The way that it's been ruled is that as long as Keldeo GX's Pure Heart ability isn't turned off the turn you decide to use Resolute Blade GX, you can use Resolute Blade GX. Now, you would not be able to, in any circumstance I can think of other than playing Channeler, be able to turn your GX attack back on. So let's say, for instance, which is what they do most of the time, somebody playing one of those decks is they get the Latios out right away. They get enough Pokemon on their bench or another method of using the attack, aka Mew 3. They use Clear Vision GX to lock you out right away of your GX attacks. And then you can still use Resolute Blade GX because the effect doesn't apply to Keldeo GX. Even though the way Latios GX reads, it applies to the player, not the Pokemon on the board. It's been ruled that the effect is applied to each individual Pokemon on the board as they come into play and get removed from play. So you get additional value out of Keldeo GX when that time comes around. I'll go through the rest of the Pokemon on the list. It's pretty straightforward. We're playing 4 Jirachi. It's your preferred starter. It's your pivot when you get knocked out. It's when you Mallow and Lana, you go into Jirachi, you grab another trainer card, maybe a tag call, maybe Cynthia and Caitlin to find another Mallow and Lana, and you keep going from there. Play one of Team Up in the queue, the Fairy type one, so that way we can use Copycat to wreak havoc upon Garchomp and Giratina decks as well as other ADP decks. If they use Calamitous Slash, you can Copycat it, knock them out clean. If they use Ultimate Ray, you can Copycat it and knock them out clean. The drawback is that you do not get to copy a GX attack, which is totally fine because we've already used ours. So even if we wanted to, we couldn't because we've already used our GX attack for the game. I have yet to use Filch in a game, which is good, which means I haven't started this guy, but it's still not bad. It comes in handy for its thing. Absol is a very, very underrated card in the format right now. Everything seems to be playing Jirachi as skateboards or things that retreat very, very lightly. Absol makes any basic Pokemon's retreat cost 1 more, which really throws off the escape board shenanigans because you generally put it on Jirachi with a retreat cost of 1, reduces it to 0. Absol puts it back up to 1. That means they now have to commit an energy or a different switching card to Jirachi, which is a pain in the butt. On top of that, Absol's attack from the energy lineup that we play, including 2 rainbow energies, which we will get to, you can use Shadow Seeker to hit for some decent damage, especially after we've used Altered Creation GX. So we're not talking 60 plus 30 for each star in the opponent's retreat cost. You can hit for solid numbers to set yourself up for some good damage. Another Pokemon that we play is Drampa from Cosmic Eclipse. Dragon Claw, whatever. But Dragon Arcana is where it's at. If this Pokemon has 2 or more different types of basic energy attached to it, we play Metal and Water. That'd be 2 of them. We get to do 70 more damage on top of the base 70, plus the 30 we get from Altered Creation, which, I don't know, in the mirror, oh wait, that knocks out Keldeo GX. That's good stuff. We like that. And I finally decided to put Dedenne GX back into the deck. I've had it out for 5 or 6 tournaments in a row. Played it on Sunday. It saved my bacon more than once. I don't know why I ever did not include it. Just a one of Dedenne. We use it for DD change. Theoretically, we can use its attacks, plural, because we play the Rainbow Energy. In San Diego, for instance, I missed a play where I could have knocked out my opponent's Jirachi for game. Because I had used Altered Creation, I had a Rainbow Energy on my Dedenne, and I could have just attached another energy and used Static Shock to knock out the Jirachi for the last 2 prizes. But I forgot that I was taking extra prizes at that point in time. So that was bad. So the supporter line of this deck is pretty standard in my opinion. The only difference being from like some of the professionals, so to speak, is they prefer Lily over Cynthia. I prefer Cynthia over Lily. I always feel like in this deck that you always have a hand of like 5, 6, 7 cards. Lily doesn't do you a whole heck of a lot of good when your hand size is up there. So Cynthia at least gives you a chance to get a different hand. Maybe you find that one energy that you need. Maybe you find that switch. Maybe you find the Chaotic Swell. Whatever the case may be. Or it's also nice just to kind of conserve your resources without having to just sit there and not do anything. Maybe you have like a custom catcher in hand and a Dedenne GX and a Cynthia. You play that Cynthia. Maybe you find the Cherish Ball later. You grab the Dedenne. Go from there. 2 Cynthia and Caitlin's, its versatility is well known to us at this point in time because we're nearing the end of the Sun Moon block. You put a supporter card from your discard pile back into your hand, but you can't select another Cynthia and Caitlin. But you also may discard a card and draw 3 cards. It's very powerful, especially in this deck. It allows you to recycle your Mallow and Lanas a lot. We play one Guzman Hala. You search your deck for Stadium card reveal, put it in your hand, shuffle your deck. But you can also discard 2 cards, grab a tool and a special energy card as well as the Stadium. So, for instance, my ADP gets knocked out. I have 3 energy on my Keldeo GX, but I have a Mimikyu in my hand. I promote my Jirachi that has an escape board attached to it, this guy down here. I slap down the Mimikyu, I Goose Mahal, I toss a couple Jirachis because you only need one. I go in, I grab the Chaotic Swell, which I need to bump their Giant Hearth. I grab the Rainbow Energy, and I grab the Counter Gain, which then at that point in time, because I'm down on prizes, allows me to use Copycat for that one single energy, smack them back for a good number. I like it a lot. The Counter Gain, it comes in handy also on Keldeo when you run into a pinch where, for instance, you had to attach 2 water energies to your Arceus, the Alcapalkia, and the Metal Energy before you Ultimate Raid, and then you search your deck and you only have 2 water energies in your deck because the other ones are prized. Slap the Counter Gain on Keldeo, and maybe you attach that Metal Energy to Trample, something like that. So then we also play 3 Mallow Lana. That's a heavier count than Sunless play. I like it a lot. It comes in so much handy. Even just for the first effect, just switching is so good. And then we play 2 Rosas. Rosa was one of those Xander Pero innovations to the deck that I was really skeptical on, and then the more I kept playing, I'm like, you know what? Man, when you hit it, and it's just so darn good. You get to play it when one of your Pokemon gets knocked out. The key to notice here is a lot of cards like this in the past have always said knocked out by damage from an attack. This one just says knocked out. So if you get bench sniped, poison, burn, whatever the case may be, that'll work. But you get to search your deck for a Pokemon, a trainer card, and a basic energy card and put them into your hand. That's a really, really powerful effect. The consistency of the deck runs off of 3 tag calls, which you get to search your deck for 2 tag team cards. Oftentimes you use it turn 1 to grab Arceus, the Alcapalkia, Cynthia, Kaylin to start drawing cards. We run 3 Pokemon Communication. We don't play a ton of Pokemon, but we play a bunch of one-of Pokemon that we might not want in certain situations. So we use Pokemon Communication to put them back in the deck and grab the Pokemon that we do want for that time. We play a 4-spot of Custom Catcher because we take extra prizes, or generally take extra prizes. We want to be able to take advantage of the fact that we can pick on the little guys and take 2 prizes on them. So we want to play 4 Custom Catchers so that we can do that as best we can. We're also going to play 3 Switches and 2 Reset Stamps. Reset Stamp is just too darn good not to play in the 2 count in most every deck right now. Play a 1-of Cherish Ball. We only have, basically half of our Pokemon are GX, but I'd rather have Pokemon Communication, and quite frankly, you can use Cherish Ball as a fuel for Pokemon Communication. I like the split of 3 Communications, 1 Cherish Ball. It works pretty nice. We're playing 1 Great Catcher because why not? Let's just have 1 last Gusting effect. Try to make our lives a little bit easier. Playing 1 Counter Gain, which when we're down on prizes, our attacks cost colorless less, which is just fantastic. It's super powerful. Playing 2 Escape Boards, which is really nice because Mimikyu, Drampa, Absol, Dedenne, and Jirachi can all utilize it and have free retreat, which comes in handy in certain spots in the game, especially early. And then our energy lineup is pretty basic as well. We're playing 6 Waters, 5 Metal Energies, as well as 2 Rainbow Energies, which allow us access to do whatever the heck we want, whenever the heck we want. I generally end up using the 1 Rainbow Energy on the ADP if you find the Guzmahala early and you don't want to commit the basic energy to the ADP, and then 1 ends up going on the Mimikyu or the Absol. I like having the Absol as a threat because it can hit some hard numbers and really set yourself up. Like if you only have like 1 energy on the Keldeo, but you can get Counter Gain, but you already have an Absol set up, you can use it to hit for most of the damage, use the Keldeo on the following turn to mop up your damage, and go from there. So that was my list. Played against Mally with Tina Chomp. Played against Dan twice. He beat me in Swiss, and then I took 2 out of 3 of them in what were some of the most stressful, gray hair inducing games of Pokemon that I've played in a long, long time. Shout out to you, Dan. We played those games hard. And then I took a pretty rough matchup in top 4 to a Baby Blacephalon deck piloted by Nick. Turn 2, he knocks out ADP both times, and it's basically game over from there because you don't recover. If your ADP gets knocked out that quick, you're pushing a boulder uphill. It's no good. You got nothing cooking there. Alright, now we'll show you what the kid came up with. And I like Jonathan a lot, but sometimes I wonder where his head's at when he's making decks. So this is what he came up. He's been playing this peek around for a minute now. And some of the counts I don't agree with. It works for him. So who am I to say? So Pikarom, as we've profiled a while back now, it's a very, very nice Pokemon card. It's basic, 240 HP. It's attack for triple lightning. You do 150. Search your deck for 3 lightning energies and attach them to one of your Pokemon. It's pretty strong. Sounds a lot like Ultimate Ray, but its GX attack is so powerful. For triple lightning, you do 200 damage, and if you have 3 more lightning attached to it, you get to snipe for 170 to the bench. That's so incredibly strong. A couple sets ago, it gained Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX as a kind of a backup attacker. For certain decks, you want to use Raichu as your attacker because it has the 20 extra HP. So its attack cost is lightning, colorless. You do 80 damage with Tandem Shock. If it was on your bench and then became your active Pokemon, it's going to do 80 more damage, and then you paralyze them. So in the current format, we don't play with a lot of special conditions, and we don't play a lot of cards necessarily do heal special conditions. We play plenty of switching cards, but we don't play a ton of healing cards that deal status conditions right now. Like Mixed Herbs is just gone from Green's decks right now, for instance. So Paralysis can be incredibly powerful to hit your opponent with, lock them in place, and buy yourself a turn. And then its GX attack is really strong too. You do 150 for the same cost. You switch with one of your bench Pokemon, so it's a hit and run GX attack. But if you have 2 more energy attached to it, you get to do 100 more damage. Them being lightning type, you gain access to Electro Power, where you're doing 30 more damage during that turn per Electro Power that you play. Some of the other basics of the deck: Tapu Koko, Prism Star, Dance of the Ancients. If it's on your bench, you can choose 2 of your bench Pokemon, attach a lightning energy from your discard pile to each of them, and then discard everything attached to Tapu Koko and put Tapu Koko Prism in the Lost Zone. Not once have I ever had to use Mach Bolt in a matchup, but 120 for that energy cost is pretty solid, especially on a Pokemon that has 130 HP. The kid chose to play 2 Dedenne GX in his deck for draw support. I'm sure he used Tingly Return GX far more than he was supposed to, but it just works out for him sometimes. I don't know why. He played 1 Evil Admonition Hoopa from Unified Minds. You're doing 10 plus 20 for each Pokemon that each of your opponent's Pokemon has an ability. I don't believe you were using Mind Shock a whole heck of a lot in the deck. It's kind of a poor Pokemon to start with because of the 2 retreat cost. But Evil Admonition helps you out against Malamar a lot because you can take 2 knockouts against Giratina with Hoopa because of the resistance to Psychic types. And it comes up in plenty of other decks too, like against Blacephalon. It's really nice when they're Blacephalon GX. It's kind of nice because basically every Pokemon in that deck has an ability, so you get some chip damage in there. He also plays an Absol because Absol is a very, very good disruption card to have in the format currently. Zero Aura GX gives you free retreat to anything that has lightning energy attached to it, a nice attack in Plasma Fist for 160 damage, a nice but probably not used very often GX attack in Full Voltage, where you get to attach 5 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. And then the tech that he really likes is Eelektross. It takes care of certain threats. So it's a stage 2, but you get to, because of its ability, play it down to your hand if you have 4 basic lightning or just 4 lightning energy cards in play. You can put it on your bench, and then you may move any number of those lightning energies from other Pokemon to this Pokemon. And its attack is kind of nice because you can lock your opponent's Pokemon in the active with hover over, and you swing for 130. I think it pretty much knocks out anything that you really want to use it for, but I digress. He's playing 3 Jirachis. We already went over Jirachi. He only plays a 3-spot of Custom Catcher, and I think the reasoning for that is you play 4 Volkner. So if you have one in hand, you can always find the other with Volkner. And in this deck, you play so many items that you burn and discard cards that you end up using one of those Custom Catchers to draw 3 cards anyway. Playing 3 Electromagnetic Radars, which let you get Dedenne, Pikachu, Zekrom, Alolan Raichu, and Zeraora. So it's pretty solid. 4 Electro Power, too good. 2 Energy Switch. Energy Switch is really nice in this deck, especially if you find some plays like Thunder Mountain. You have, let's say, Dedenne in the active with a lightning energy on it for whatever reason. You find a 0, you bench it, you bench a Pikachu Zekrom, you attach a lightning to Pikachu Zekrom, retreat for free, energy switch, Thunder Mountain down, boom, full blitz. Now you're cooking. 2 great catchers. This deck is a deck that can take knockouts in a hurry, especially with Electro Power. You can hit for numbers. So 2 great catchers on top of the custom catchers is nice. 2 Pokemon communication. There's a lot of different Pokemon in the deck. You need to be able to find the one that you want when you want it. 2 reset stance. We already touched on that. He plays a stadium nav because he plays 3 different stadiums, and sometimes you need a stadium. So flip 2 coins. You search your deck for a stadium card for each heads that you get. Reveal it and put in your hand. Shuffle afterwards. Plays 3 switches and 3 switches, which is pretty standard in a lot of decks right now. 1 tag switch. You get to move 2 energy, not basic energy, 2 energy, from one of your tag team Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon, which is nice for setting up other threats later. You're playing 1 Lysander's Lab, which is helpful against the Malamar matchup, so that way their spell tags don't stick on you, because those spell tags start adding up quickly. Thunder Mountain reduces the attack cost of lightning Pokemon by lightning energy, and it's a Prism Star, so it doesn't get, you don't get to bump it with all sorts of things. No, sorry, you can bump it with anything. I'm thinking of a different, thinking of Chaotic Swell. Anyway, so Thunder Mountain, it's fantastic. It's ultimate lightning support. And he also plays 1 Viridian Forest, just as another counter stadium. And searching for energy is really helpful in a deck like this that plays 11 energies. He plays 4 Lily, 4 Volkner, and then he plays 2 tool cards, Choice Helmet, and a Skateboard with 11 lightning energies. He played against a bunch of Malamars, he played against a Tangrowth, he played against Baby Blounds and Top Cut. He came out on top. So credit to Jonathan for doing that. Can't say that I'm super thrilled about it because he beat the guy that beat me, and I'd rather that the guy that beat me goes on to win, so that way I feel validated that I lost to the champion. But that's not the point for today. The point for today is we as a team are also very, very excited for the release of Sword and Shield to come out into the format. It's going to shake things up a ton. We're going to have plenty of content for that when it comes around. The biggest thing is the rule change where you can't play supporters if you go first on your first turn. I do think that's going to fundamentally change how a lot of decks are getting built. And then on top of that, the first big event that we're all going to following the release of Sword and Shield is going to be Collinsville, which is an expanded event, which further complicates matters because we haven't really played expanded since Toronto of last year, which I think was in May. So yeah, it's been a hot minute since we played expanded, and then we're gonna have a rule change as well as additional card typings. The lack of Pokemon V and VMAX support in terms of cards like a Cherish Ball type of card or something like that is really, really going to be interesting. How do we work around it? Does it really matter? Do the Pokemon V make enough of an impact on the format? Hint, hint, yes they do. Snorlax V is way too good. Or Snorlax VMAX is way too good. It's Mega Ray on steroids. And it can survive a hit. So we're going to have some fun with that. We don't know what we're formulating yet. We just know that we're excited and interested to try out the new cards in the coming pre-releases and then when the set drops here in early February. So let's see. I've taken up 20-ish minutes of all of y'all's time. I'm going to get going. I'm going to cook dinner. It's Wednesday night, which means it is veggie noodles and ground turkey and pasta sauce night, which it sounds horrible. Just come on over one time and have it. You'll see that I know what I'm doing when it comes to cooking too. So from Orange Dragon Gaming, I'm Evan, the founder, the president, the CEO, the CFO, CIO, CAO, GOAT, all that kind of stuff. I'm kidding. Have a good night. We will see everybody around in pre-releases. Some of us are going to go up to Bay City this coming weekend, hopefully to take down some more CP for the crew. Take care, everybody. We'll see you around next time.